How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on a new addition to all my projects here. This is a 1982 Honda CB650. I picked it up for 200 bucks on the marketplace last year. I ended up getting rid of my Suzuki Bandit, traded it for the S10, which is probably the video you're going to see before this or maybe after. I don't know what order I'm going to do them in. Probably the S10 first because I've been holding on to it for over a year. But anyway, we're going to work on getting this thing running today. I sprayed some go-go juice down in the carburetors and she did start. When I bought it, I was told it didn't have any spark, and then I found out it's because the switch was not on run, or this is the switch. It was on off. But anyways, she's got spark. I'm thinking about doing probably like a K-Fracer style build with this bike. I already got the hoop, you know, I'm gonna cut the frame, you know, back here, put the hoop in it, make a custom seat. That tank I actually got off of a, I believe it was a Honda 500 XC 500, whatever the hell they're called, because the tank that was on it was rotted. That tank fits, just it mounts up differently, so we're gonna have to make custom mounting points for the tank, but it's the same capacity and same style as the stock tank. I'm gonna take the carburetors off, clean them. I got another petcock for the tank. I'm probably not gonna use this. This is seized up anyway. So I got another petcock I'm gonna put on there, gonna check the tank, make sure it's clean, put gas in it, and then we're gonna figure out how these carburetors hook up to the petcock. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's some overflow. Now my only concern right now is I noticed that it shifts kind of hard, but I also noticed there's a bunch of shit in between the shifter right here. It might just be gunk built up. You can feel in the transmission it shifts good. It just moves kind of hard. I think that's probably gonna be an easy fix. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Don't really feel like doing any transmission work to this thing, but she's in relatively good shape. So I do plan on getting an upgraded carburetor set for it. Oh, okay. I see where the fuel line goes right here. Why does it look like it's plugged in? I don't remember plugging it in. Well, apparently that's where the fuel line goes. Anyways, we're gonna start messing around with this thing here and see what we can do. Hopefully be able to give it a test drive today. Luckily on Amazon they have quite literally everything for this. I'm gonna be going through it. I'm gonna be getting new boots for the carbs, new coils, plug wires, plugs. We're gonna, you know, give her a fresh oil change. I believe there's an oil filter in this. Some paint, some frame modification. We've got all kinds of things, custom exhaust. Starting out, I think I'm going to get the carburetors off. I checked this tank out when I got it, but it's been sitting for a year and I don't see any pinholes. I did tap around these rust spots. It's just surface rust from what I can tell. It seems like it is holding whatever liquid's in it. And I don't see any wet spots, so that's good. Taking these air boxes out is a pain in the ass. I could try and feed fuel to it and really just see how it runs. I mean, I would much rather do it the right way and clean the carburetors out, make sure they're all good so I don't have any problems. I don't want to go down the road and it picks up something and clogs up a jet and I gotta push the bike back. Carburetors aren't broken, luckily. They're in good shape. Take these little badges off and end up repainting them. Probably just paint them black. I think I'm gonna do green on black. Black frame, green tank, green side covers, green fenders. I know a lot of people with K-Fracer builds, they actually don't even use the covers. They just leave it open here and get rid of the airbox. I'm not going with a traditional K-Fracer build. It's gonna be a two-seater, not a single-seater. Now, another thing I'm gonna be doing that's a little different. Most people do a single-seater. By the way, I have no idea exactly how to take this airbox off. Okay, that doesn't slide off too bad. So those are all popped off the carbs. Now I'm just gonna get these bad boys unscrewed, if I can do it without stripping them. And these boots, by the way, you can get on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. I'll put a link in the description. Now, the throttle cable is still connected. People are used to working on these things. They're probably cringing right now knowing a way to get these out 20 minutes ago. There's a bracket in here. This is the bracket I'm talking about right here. Two cables, gotta take and loosen it so I can slide it out and then I can pop it off. Now, I believe the reason why there's two is because you have the back one pulls the throttle open and the front one is just a return. I had to guess. I could be wrong. I need to tilt the carb up a little bit so I can pull the throttle cables off. There's one. How do we get to this other one? I forgot there's a choke. What? Does the choke even work? Maybe there's a choke. There's a lever here. Oh, right here. I'm an idiot. Choke works. And there's just one more thing we gotta disconnect. Fill up the screwdriver. Don't strip on me. Sometimes you gotta shock it a little bit. There we go.
2,000 years later.
Take this airbox out of here. Yeah, there we go. That's just gonna be a bitch to put in later. Alright. It's the whole carb bank right there. I'm not gonna take out any of the adjustment screws. I'm just gonna make sure the bowls are clean, maybe blow out the jets. And it's a good sign that the throttle and everything works. A little sticky, a little WD-40 will fix it right up. My makeshift workbench. And it doesn't look like anybody has been in here. I only say that because the screws to the bowls are actually in good shape. Usually they're not. Workbench that moves, not a very nice workbench. Now I'm hoping I don't rip carb gasket at all. Oh nice, it's not one of the paper ones. Yeah, no. I'm glad I took that off. Float isn't stuck, but those jets don't look very good. There's actually some corrosion in there. I may not be running this thing. Look at all that. Yeah, no, that's not good. Now the jets here, we can pull off and try to clean throttle and the fuel adjustments we don't want to mess with. But I'll end up taking all this apart. We'll end up cleaning and blowing the jets out, making sure they all flow. If the jets flow, we're good. There's a lot of corrosion down there, so I'm kind of worried. I might try to take a brush and some brake clean and clean all that out. But the flow isn't stuck. You can see the needle valve is moving. There's a jet down there. It screws down in there, flathead. Hopefully we can get that out. If not, I'm just going to try to clean it while it's in there. And then we have this one we can also take out. And then we have the fuel adjustment, throttle adjustment. I don't know how it works on a quad carb setup like this. I think the throttle setup is just this screw right here is the throttle. And I don't know where the fuel adjustment would be. Oh, it's probably right here. Oh, we're not going to fuck with any of that because that's when we're going to make them not in sync. They need to be in sync. We can't mess with them at all. Bunch of gunk down in here. Some rust. Oh. I don't know if that's just corrosion built up, if that was something that, no, I think it's just corrosion built up. So luckily these are not paper gaskets, they're these rubber gaskets like these ones. So I can clean that up and I should be able to reuse that, no problem. It's not dry rotted and breaking, which is good. Hopefully it's the same for all of them. But I'm gonna go through and clean all this up one carburetor at a time, not screwing with any of the throttle or fuel adjustments or anything like that. Just trying to clean these jets out and make sure they flow. And when I spray fluid through them, I'll see it flowing. And then I also have to take this float off and make sure fluid is going through that port right over here, because that is right where the bowl comes up. It lets fuel down in there and it goes up into there, and you know, all kinds of magical things happen. But anyway, we're gonna clean these carburetors up and then throw them back on the bike and then see if we can get it to run when I put some fuel in it. Then I also have to push the petcock on that and fuel on and fuel filter, which is easy, the easiest part. So I ran to the store, got oil, brake clean, some chain lube, WD-40, and I even got some fuel treatment seafoam. If I take these out, seeing the little corrosion on here, I may actually break those jets. So I think I'm going to try to see if I can backflow them first with some brake clean. And if I can get them to flow, I think I'm just going to leave them alone. I may attempt to take them off. If they're coming hard, they're probably going to break, and I've actually seen these break. I've broken before. Pretty sure this is the fuel rail right here. Like I said, I'm no bike expert. And also, this is the replacement fuel line, fuel filter, clamps, petcock. We'll throw that on the tank, and that connects right here. And then this little hose here allows it to pull vacuum, hooks up to one of the carburetors here. So it'll suck fluid down and then into this line here. And that'll go right down into here, into this fuel rail, which connects to all the carbs. That fills the bowls up. I would say that's probably not flowing. I think we're gonna try to pull all that out. Hope I don't break anything, because if I do, then it's just gonna be a setback here. We can take them out, we can clean them a lot easier. Ooh, there we go. And no bueno. That is absolutely plugged up. Is what I expected. These carbs never would have worked if I just put fuel to it. That's why it's just worth going the extra step. So I don't have any brushes small enough to clean those jets. I do have a piece of mechanic wire. We're just gonna run that up into this. Now I can already see, just by sticking that in a little bit, I can see light through there. As long as I can clean all the jets, I should be good. And obviously make sure that's the needle valve and that main jet there. As long as that's all flowing. As long as I can break up that gunk that's inside the jet and just spray her down, we should be all right. The fuel treatment I'm gonna put in it after, when it's running, the seafoam, that'll take down and break down any of deposits that are left over in the system, maybe any corrosion, anything like that I missed. We gotta get her as clean as possible. I see light through it now. Yeah. Now she's flowing. You have these little holes along this barrel and you know, the other end, whatever technical term would be. That actually allows fuel. Now I can see light through all those now. So that is completely clean and it'll flow like new. Pull that needle out. You see it's, needle goes on the float like that. Float comes up, that valve opens, lets fuel pass through. We're gonna feed some fuel down her, see what it does. If I fill this up, it should pass through because the rail runs down there. I should be able to actually see some fluid coming out of here, or at least this tube right here. Take that clamp off. If I can see fluid getting through into this fuel line here, that's a good sign. Ooh, look at that. Well, that is a good sign. I am pretty confident we'll get this thing running. Take a little brake clean, put it on a rag, because there's like some corrosion and gunk on the gasket. Be careful with it, but this gasket, definitely in good shape. I'll be able to reuse that and have no problems whatsoever with it leaking. I'm just gonna spray, clean up inside where the gasket resides, and then the bowl, of course, and go along and do it with the rest of them. Little brush. And it's not rough. Be able to take and kind of see all that. That's the worst of the corrosion in the bowl. What happens when she's on top and she misses. Well, one thing I noticed, and I don't know if it's just because of the positioning of the carburetors, or I don't know if the jets are different, but that jet is smaller. Go down on this jet. I just can't go in this one. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way. They might not all be jetted the same based on their positions. I'm not sure. So I believe this bowl on the third carburetor actually has something to do with the priming. See, there's a plunger here. The rod goes down here and it's on this lever for the throttle. So I think what that does, it pushes on this plunger, and then you have a gasket here, and there's a hole right here, which is this front rail, and that pressurizes, probably puts pressure in there, and it shoots fuel up through these and primes it. So that's how the priming system works. As you see, it goes on, and there's that lever down there. When you pump to give it gas, pump the throttle, it pushes that plunger down. Carburetor's all put back together, cleaned up. Everything is working nice and smoothly. Everything's flowing good. No rust chunks, so that's good. Filter's too big. We might just have to swap the filters out. Could just blow it out, clean it as much as possible, and then I could order the proper petcock because this tank is for a different bike. So we'll just take and clean this fucking thing out. I mean, it's a little discolored, but it's in good shape, so. Oh no. And the threads are different. And we're gonna try to take the internals out. Hopefully if we do that, it'll just flow right down through and out. See that plunger right there? Vacuum sucks that in and it allows the fuel to drip down through. So if I take that off, she'll just flow. She'll free flow. I just have to take the plunger out of it. There's some gunk in here. The only thing is I'll have to find something to plug these lines off with because then the fuel will flow through there.
Several weeks later.
Alright guys, so it is about 2 weeks later. The bike is pushed back here out of the way. So we did get the Murray carburetors. Look at that. I even got a sticker. I did get the bike kind of sort of barely running. Carb boots were actually cracked and they're so stiff I couldn't even get the carbs on there. Carb literally just wiggles right off like that. I mean, I tried taking a rubber mallet, smacking them on, couldn't get them to stick on. I actually think the rubber shrunk a little bit because if you notice for the new ones, when I take them out here, they're a little bit longer. So I think they actually shrunk over time, which rubber will do that. Gets old, gets brittle. So we ended up ordering a set of Murray carburetors. So basically it's 2 carburetors. There's a manifold that comes with, and they will plug in manifold on one side, one manifold on the other, and the carbs bolt to that. And then it has these cone filters. So we actually have to delete the air box and some other stuff. We also got the new coils in, plug wires and spark plugs and a bunch of other shit here. Fuel line, clamps, the good ones. And you know, we just have a whole bunch of parts here that we got. So we're gonna pull the bike out and we're gonna hopefully get it all together and running today. I did order the Murray carburetor with a vacuum port. You can either do no vacuum ports, 1 or 2 vacuum ports. I did 1 vacuum port just in case I ever want to add anything to it later, or like, you know, add a vacuum powered petcock later back to it if I ever felt the need to. But that's plugged off. Probably leave it that way. And I just got a regular petcock to put on the tank that should fit it. Hopefully it said it did.
Fake announcement.
And it's not vacuum powered, actuated, whatever. Do a little cleanup in here. Alright, now I'm not going to waste my time trying to start it up for you. It doesn't really want to run at all. So we're going to take the tank off, carbs out, air box out, and then we got to try to fit in this new carburetor setup. And then we got the new coils, plug wires, spark plugs. We got fuel in here, but we got to change the petcock out. And obviously we got the new fuel lines, the fuel filter. These Murray carburetors come pre-tuned. My sticker wet. They come pre-tuned and pre-tested. $700 something later. Put the link in the description. They have them for different years, and this is for 81 to 82 model, which this is an 82 Honda CB650. They're supposed to give you a lot more torque and a lot more power. I was told that the Murray carburetors sometimes do come, even though they're pre-tuned, they are finicky and sometimes you have to mess with them a little bit. I guess we'll see. Make sure this thing's on reserve or off. It's on off. Pull that fuel line off. Pull the tank off. The only thing about the carburetors, they don't come with any type of venting filters or anything like that. So you have the vent, crankcase vent right here. See that line right here that goes to the air box. When we delete the air box, obviously that's not going to work out anymore. So a little tiny filter you can get on Amazon. I don't have one. I'm going to have to pick one up. You know, you can leave some of the hose there and just pop one of those suckers on. Or I think they even have ones that will pop right into the top. Now I'm going to put it loosening these clamps up because the carbs just slip off anyway. But we're going to reuse these clamps. I couldn't find any replacement ones. But that's okay. We'll just reuse these clamps for now. Remove that, we ain't need that no more. The airbox pretty simple, 10mm up here. And then we got a couple vents. We have a vent for the crankcase. Take the choke cable off. So the Murray carburetors actually have a manual choke on the carburetor itself, so we don't need this choke cable anymore. These throttle cables we do away with. There's all new throttle cables with the carbs. Like that. I could resell that for a few $100. We have a 10mm right here underneath the seat. I think that's the only thing holding the airbox on. I assume, other than the vents that are still holding it in, all the little hoses for the vents, pretty much will just come out of here. Might be easier. Take all this shit out and pull it out through. Give us a little extra room. I don't know if I have to take the battery tray out too. It looks like the battery tray is just a couple bolts. No, it looks like it's couple 10 millimeters right here, 10 millimeter there. There's all kinds of shit mounted on the side of it. I'm gonna take the battery tray out to remove the air box. It looks like it actually goes underneath the battery tray, so I think it's kind of preventing it from coming up and out. So 3 10 millimeters, and there's a voltage regulator and stuff on the side that we have to unbolt and take off. Oh, look, there's a receipt down here. O'Reilly's hub assembly for 2011 Chevy Silverado 1500. Damn, 250 bucks. That's an expensive loop bearing right there. There's these little inserts here. Don't want to lose those, keep those together. This is the voltage regulator right here. A couple bolts right there from the battery box. Starter solenoid for the battery right here. Little vent for the battery. Try to pull this a little bit out of the way, see if that'll give me enough room to weasel this guy out of here. Unplug everything here. That'll give us, oh, I'm losing tools here. We don't put tools on top of the bike. See the air box right here, ran underneath that. I would have never got that out. Like that, goes under here like that, and then that front piece that hooks up to the carbs right here goes in like that. All right, so you can see how much more space we have in here. Battery terminals right there. Now we're gonna put this battery box in there. Now I'm probably gonna end up changing this out, so I want to weld a pan right here underneath the seat and have it come down, and the battery will sit here. All these electronics can get tucked up in there. Probably what I'm going to do, and actually, you know what, for now I think I'm actually just gonna leave the battery box out of this. So as you can see now, we have all this extra space in here. Filters, I believe, will actually come and they'll sit inside here, but I believe you can actually change it around so you could have them come out and like be right up against the frame, but you don't want it to be rubbing there. So it should all fit right inside this little cubby here where the airbox was. Crankcase vent down here, and that's something I'll take care of later. I'll probably just get little filters to put on there just because you don't want any rain or anything, or any bugs or anything getting in there. Now I do plan on using the side covers and putting them on here. I'm going to paint them differently. A lot of people just cut these tabs off and leave this open. I don't want to do that. I think the covers would be cool. You have the starter cylinder here. That is some kind of relay. I don't know if it's for the blinkers or something like that. And then we have the voltage regulator that plugs right into here, which is this guy right here. And there was something, probably tool storage right here. I don't have the cover for it. Probably gonna get rid of it. Might just keep it because I mean it's not hurting anything. It's gonna be behind the cover anyways, and I might be able to find the replacement cover. I think it was some type of strap, and you could strap in like a little tool bag or something there. I think that's probably what that was for, if I had to assume. What I want to do now is fit the carbs in here. I got to replace the carb boots. We're gonna end up taking these throttle cables out because the new carbs come with throttle cables. That choke lever we don't need anymore. I'm gonna pull that out as well. Like I said, they have manual chokes on these carburetors. And then we're gonna take these boots off, put the new boots on, get this all buttoned up, throw the tank back on the new petcock, and get her running. We're gonna have to pry these off with a pry bar because they're pretty stiff. Yeah, hear that? You see that crack? And that carb boot right there, crack here. They're just stiff, cracked up. Definitely a big vacuum leak right there. Oh man, that one was really bad. I mean, they're stiff as an old boot. This one's stuck on there real good. All dried up pieces of carb boot. Plug each cylinder up here. We don't want anything getting down in there. We want to clean up around where the new boots are gonna go on. We don't want any dirt or anything in between the boot and the mating surface. Take a little wire brush here and just kind of scuff as much as I can around here because there is some built up gunk on here. Not gonna hurt nothing. Using this little wire brush on the end of the drill actually works a lot better because there's a lot of kicked on stuff on here. Oh, suck that in. Gotta be careful of that. Cleans up that metal real nice. Alright, so yeah, it's definitely gonna have to stretch out quite a bit. I'm hoping that they sent me the right ones. Oh, fuck. Put a little PB blaster on a rag and swished it in here on the inside to help kind of loop it up a little bit. I mean, that fits tight. Kind of do the same thing here. Kind of give it a little lubrication. I'm sure those carbs are not going to be fun to pop in at all. Just taking a little rubber mallet because it's not going to hurt anything. Making sure they're sitting just right. So the carb boots are all installed, clamps are on there. You just have to hook up a little manifold. Here are some things to help you get started before you install. This kit has been specifically designed for your motorcycle and customized for your location and application. We have set it to our baseline and balancing using a live motor. They did say it was all pre-tested and tuned. This baseline can be used to diagnose your bike in an event something isn't working properly, so please call us before adjusting anything. Things to do before installing your kit. Check your gas tank for dirt, debris, particles, rust, blah, blah, blah. I've already been through for my gas tank and all that. Check your petcock, proper operation. We got a new one to put in. Remove your old carb and air box. Clean the area for, yeah, I already did that. Decide how you are going to deal with your crankcase vents. Yeah, we already got a plan for that. Consider replacing your clutch springs if you are using the old set, or if you are unsure how old they are. The increase in torque that our kit provides has been known to eat old clutches for breakfast. We're gonna run the stock clutch in it for now. If she starts slipping or whatever, then we'll replace it. Things to keep in mind when installing your kit: cable routing is crucial. I have an idea of how I'm gonna route it all, so I'm not worried about that. Enrichener, levers, choke. So choke. Up is off, down is on. They are not variable. They are either on or off. Okay. Yeah, that's how most chokes work. Contact us. We are a family-owned business. Blah blah blah. Okay. Good to know. It's supposed to come with everything here. This is the quick turn throttle tube. I'm not gonna put it on right now, but I guess it takes up a lot of the slack and will make for a more, you know, a snappier throttle. That was an extra like 20 bucks, I think, 15 bucks, something like that. Air filters, very nice. That goes up to your throttle. This is the manifold, what we're looking for right now. That's the vacuum port right there that is added. So I thought it was on the carb, it's actually on the manifolds. That's got a little rubber. We're gonna leave that there for now. Carbs will obviously plug into there. These plug into the carb boots. As you can see, flat there, you can see the little bit of an offset. It's kind of angled. You can actually choose to either angle them out, so it's on the outside of the frame, or in. We're gonna do it so it's facing in case, you know, if it ever rained, I don't want the rain to be able to just drop right up on the filters. Definitely gonna be a tight fit. And one thing to take into consideration, which I'm thinking about right now, is the vacuum line. Because this one does have that vacuum port right here, and I do want these facing in. That's actually gonna go on that side right there. I want the vacuum port pointing up if you ever have to dap a line into it. I'm gonna put a little PB blaster on there. It's the only lubricant I have. I have seen people heat the boots before. I'm gonna try that, kind of keep it at a distance here. That'll help kind of soften it up a little bit. There we go. That should rest right on this lip on this manifold. As you can see, I'm not focusing the flame on the boots for very long. There we go. We got her to pop in. Although, I don't even think you need clamps to hold that sucker in there. Now, tighten these clamps up. We'll get new clamps at some point. Right now, we're gonna use what we have. I may use some hose clamps at some point. I just don't like the idea of hose clamps. I really like how loose those clamps fit on there. I think they're a little worn out. Well, we might try to find some hose clamps to throw on there, I think. At least a temporary thing until we find these particular types of clamps. I gotta find them. I couldn't find any. I can already tell it's not gonna be fun putting the carbs in here. All right, so we're into the store. Got some clamps, regular hose clamps. That'll work. It's on there nice and tight. And this vent right here, like I said, we'll end up putting a little filter, plug it into here, then you can buy them. It's just a little breather. And I do the same thing down here for the crankcase. There's a little gap in between the boot and the manifold, but once you tighten the clamp up, it kind of pulls it in. It looks pretty slick. This guy over here making a bunch of noise. Got to make sure the stickers are on the outside. That's how they line up. They pop in there, and then you got the cable that runs up through. This T that it comes with links these two carburetors together. Install them just like that. We can rev out that. That'll do. Zip that out to the frame. Runs into the tank. That'll do, pig. See if I can do this without spilling too much gas. There's no way that's the right one. Fucking Amazon. Gotta plumb the fuel line in. A lot of extra fuel line.
It's like tomorrow's Mother's Day. I'm like, and ... I'm like, my mom's in a jar in my bedroom.
Yeah, wire unplugged. We ought to choke them. Throw the coils and plugs in it, see if we get a little bit better of a response out of her. I have a feeling these plugs are going to be well used or loose. Nah, not too bad. A little raw fuel on there. I'm hoping that these are pre-gassed. 0.024 to 0. Okay. Oh, let's see what we're at. Oh yeah, they're gapped. Fresh spark plug going in. This bottom wire, cylinder 1. The bottom wire on the opposite coil, cylinder 2. We gotta remember that stuff. Ow. man. Always something, man. Could just leave the old plugs in there. I mean, really, if they all look like this, and then just do the coils, because if it's anything, it's the coils that are the problem, not the spark plugs. We'll worry about spark plugs later, because I can't even reach the other ones I gotta get to. I mean, these spark plugs look pretty much brand new anyway. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. They're looking pretty clean. There's no oil on there. I will double check the gap though. Yep. Just have to get a different spark plug socket that'll work for that. Put this back in. Oh, that's good for it. No visible damage. Make sure that didn't land on that strap there and bend it in. So make sure the gapping is good. She's good. That's kind of a bummer, but I don't have a socket that'll be able to clear the head. Probably just gonna have to get a special socket for it. All right, so I guess we're just onto the coils. They're nice. Awfully long wires though. May have to trim them up a little bit. All we'll really have to do is pull this cap off, pull the wire out. But if you pull that out, take that rubber grommet right there, push it back and cut the wire. Stick it in there. There's a little needle inside this coil that wire touches. See the wire in there? And there's a little pin in there. And all we gotta do is we gotta cut it. This insulation, we'll cut it down, figure out what size we need. Really, we just need to trace these old wires. Install each coil, and then I'll do one wire at a time. Bottoms go on the first two, and then that first top one goes on cylinder 3. Nope. That's 4. Cylinder 1, both bottoms. Cylinder 1, bottom on the other side, cylinder 2. That's cylinder 4, and the other one's cylinder 3. Don't want to mess the firing order up. Measure it up. I may make them just a hair longer. And this little grommet on here, take that off, take the cap off. Don't want to lose any of that. Take this little heat shield off here, and we're going to trim this up to fit. Slide this guy down, and we're gonna put this cap on there. Little grommet, just like that. So you shortened. You see that little copper wire? Push it in here, and that little prick in there. Probably would have been easier just to do this with the coil off. Yeah, that'll be perfect. As one coil together, proper wire lengths. I feel like I don't have to say this, but also remember the orientation these wires go in. Like a bluish one up here, and a black one with a white line. Remember what orientation they go in when you take them out, put them on the new coil. Just like that. We have one side done.
20 minutes later.
Running. Smoking, but it's running. All right, guys, so it is now a week later, and I think we're gonna finally get to the point where we can test drive this bad boy for the first time. Now, a couple things I had to wait on. I got some Rotella 1540, and I know before anybody says anything, yes, this is diesel oil. The bike only calls for 1040. I'm running this in it because I was actually told that it's really good for bike motors, especially some of these older bike motors. It has zinc in it, which is good for the cam lobes. We're gonna put the filter in it, we're gonna put the Rotella in it, and we're gonna put some of the seafoam in it, and that'll help clean up oil gunk built up in the crankcase and anything like that. Probably run it for a couple 100 miles and then do another oil change. What does it say on here? 09. Last time I had a sticker on it. So it's been sitting for many years. But as you can see, the filter is located right in here. Picked up some cheapo filters for now. Comes with the new O-rings and everything. I did a lot of research on these carburetors, and I might have mentioned it before, but a lot of people who said that they bought these carbs had to mess with the fuel and air and all that. Now I'm pretty sure because it's smoking out of this pipe, it's running rich on that left bank. So a little adjustments on that, and then I got a battery on the charger. We're gonna throw the battery in it. We're gonna try to take this thing for its first test drive. And it's a nice, beautiful day. 17 millimeter, we got a pop off there. Get the oil out. Oh yeah, it actually doesn't look awful. I also added a quart of oil to it because it was low before I ran it. It's not black, which is good. That's on there a little hard. There we go. Got the old filter right in there. Pull that guy right out just like that. There's a spring right there. That comes out just like that. New filter. Put that on there. Spring on the bottom. Pop it right back in. Drain the rest of this oil out of here. You can spray this out with brake clean if you want. And there's an O-ring right there we need to replace. Alright, new O-ring that came with this. Pick this bad boy out. Clean it up in here. Make sure we get any little dirt, debris that's in this little groove here out. We don't want any possible leaks to occur. New O-ring flops just like that right in there. And there should be another O-ring in here. I'm pretty certain on the bottom of this thing right here. Yep, right there. The other O-ring right there that comes in the package. Alright, that's all dried up. I can feel it starting to break just in my hands. Don't want to worry about leaks. Just like that. That goes in there just like that. Then we're going to put the spring in. New filter goes in. And then spacer. You won't want anything on this gasket. There's no debris or anything on it. There's a little notch right there. It lines up with the notch on here. Don't forget to tighten your drain plug. Click. Click. 3 quarts. Alright. Add to crankcase oil, seafoam, blah blah blah. Add 1 ounce for each quart of oil. Now it'll read higher at first just because we gotta run it first for the oil to fill up the oil filter. Okay, slide this bad boy in here. Negative, positive next. Alright, he's got power. Got this little spanner wrench right here, and that's going to allow us to get to the spark plugs that we couldn't get to before. We can put that bad boy in there. New plugs, filters, oils, boots, filters, fucking everything. Now she's ready to tune a little bit on the carb, get it to run a little bit better, and then we can take it for a test drive. There we go. Probably more than we need, but that's okay. Choke, choke. It's got a clutch noise. What that is. It's alright. We'll be replacing that at some point. No front brakes or nothing. Feels like I can only get it up to the second gear though. Yeah, definitely needs some fine tuning. I put the side covers on there. Kind of makes it look a little prettier. I want to keep these side covers on here when I do the K-Racer build. Right, when we finish it all up. I want to paint them green to match the tank, to match the fender, and I want to paint the logo all black. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about cutting the frame probably back here, somewhere around in here. Put the hoop in it, make up a different kind of bumper. I think even if I cut it right here, it's gonna have plenty of support for the seat. But I do want to leave the stock seat on there because I like the room it, kind of offers, especially if you get a passenger at some point. Right there is lubrication right there. Some PB blaster. I had to lube up the shifter because it was sticking. So now she's good and going through all the gears. Originally it was sticking, so I put a little penetrating oil in there and worked the gears up and down. So she goes through all the gears now, which is good. Shifts a lot smoother. It doesn't stick anymore like it was, which is great. Now obviously I still have to make up the mount for the tank because the tank's kind of just chilling here, but she's running. She's not perfect. She definitely needs a little tuning. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We brought her back to life, gave her a little oil change here, and got it running okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we're gonna do more videos like this at some point. We got the S10 video. It's either gonna come out before or after this. I'm not quite sure in what order. I've been sitting on it for like a year. Then we have obviously the 80s bike revival, and we're gonna start doing the rest of the build on the bike. A lot of plans with this bike, a lot of things we got to do to it. Hopefully get it done here in the next few weeks, maybe month, and register it and start driving her around. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.